I'm here today to do a public service announcement. I am going to warn you from one of the worst gaming experiences I've ever had in my life. I literally walked away from the table and said, no more, you play my turn. It's the first time I've ever done that because I hated the game so much. I'm going to hold nothing back. I will be 100% honest, and I'm going to tell you about this game. Keep watching, and you'll see why this is probably the worst game I've ever played.
Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews. Have you ever wondered what games you should sell or you should use? Find out here at Purge Reviews. Find out on our top 10 list what games you cannot miss. Don't forget to subscribe to Purge Reviews.
Pirates of the Seven Seas put you into a world where you're a pirate and you're trying to get your crew together in order to take out the cargo ships that has all the goodies, getting bounties, and it does it in possibly the most random, boring way that this could ever be accomplished. So let me tell you about the first complaint of this game. The first complaint of this game is it's in a 10. This is a terrible way to package a game. Now, I'm not one of the people that hate 10s. If it's in a small enough box, it might be okay. I don't not buy a game because it's in a 10, obviously, but this game is terrible in a 10. Let me show you what mine looks like after having it shipped to me and played, and you'll tell me if a 10 is good or not. Here's my copy of Pirates of the Seven Seas, and I don't know if it's going to pick up too well on camera, but you might see mine is a little bit crushed right here. It's dented on the side of it. All across the side it's dented and indentured. It is just a terrible mess. Why this is so terrible in this game is that you use the game to play. The inside of the lid is going to be where you're going to place the mat. I don't know if you can see how bowed mine is, and you can see the indentions right here. And you're rolling dice on this constantly. The back of the rule book. The back of the box is how you score and place everything. So when it's indented, and it just kind of, it'll kind of just fall off to the side a little bit. Who wants that? Can you see how mine has a huge indentation? I don't know what to do about this. I pop it back out. It stays. It's impossible to get this back into its original format. Terrible, not only because it's a cheap way, a terrible way to make a game box, but I'm using this in the game. Terrible decision. Complaint number 2. This game comes with a custom insert that serves absolutely no purpose. Why make me spend the extra money that it costs to get a custom insert if it really doesn't fit this game? Great, I have card holders, sort of, that fit in here. The big and the small ones. And then everything else is just a jumbled mess. I don't even know how to set this up. Do I put all the dice in here like I have and then the rest of this gibberish just in here? This is a custom insert that does not fit this game. So just give me a stupid insert that doesn't do anything like this one does at a cheaper price. I mean, doesn't make any sense to me why you would have this in the game. So, complaint number 3. This is what you're going to be playing the game on. This is the front of the box with this little sheet that you put in. This comes in the back of the box when you buy it in the shrink wrap. And I guess this is supposed to be thematic because all you're going to do on this is roll dice. But I guess because there's islands and stuff there. I mean, it's not like you roll the dice and it hits the volcano, then the ship dies because it's landside. It just does not matter. The geography of this, the islands, it makes no sense. It has no bearing on the game. It could have just as well as been the 10 without this because this means nothing. Absolutely nothing to the game. This part is the back of the box. You must dump everything out to play. Mine, of course, because it's 10, it's already been bashed in, and you just set the things on here into score tracker. I don't mind this side so much. This is okay. Great use of the game. So when you buy it, the back of it looks like this, so you have a look at what the game is. So the packaging is fine, and then just comes off when you buy it, it gets set inside here. This side okay, this side is so stupid. It's just pointless. It's a little bit of attempt of a theme, but it is completely and utterly pointless.
This leads me to the question of how dumb does IDW think I am? Thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much for attempting a theme here. But nothing that's thematic about it makes sense. Why do the islands exist? Why? Because if my ship hits them, I'm still fighting. I'll show you how fighting works later. But it makes no sense thematically. So why give me some theme? Even if it's just a threat, the smallest of threats. Oh, thank you so much. But then make it completely meaningless. That pulls me right out of any theme that you're trying to pull me into. I don't feel like a pirate fighting from the shores. Pirates don't fight from islands. We fight from the sea. This makes no sense thematically, and you're only doing it to push theme in. Why? Why give me the pretty picture? Because you had to, right? Because otherwise it isn't a pirate game. That means your theme and your mechanisms are not working together. It makes no sense. I don't know how dumb you think I am, but apparently pretty dumb.
So let me show you how to play a little bit. Each player is going to get a set of cards that have the exact same characters on them. And what you're going to do is you're going to play one of these characters face down, and then the characters will be called out in this order: shipwright, governor, captain, and so forth and so forth. And whenever the card you played, if you played the Aborigine girl, when she's called out, you would flip it over and say, hey, here, I'll play this. This is very much like Citadels. So when you play a card, it's going to come out in a certain order, and it's going to be played. This is a fairly simple thing that's been played in other games, Citadels, Mission Red Planet. That works very, very, very well. 3 is the iconography. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make it any easier for me to know what this guy does versus this guy by the iconography. It just does not help me, because the iconography is not used on any other card. As you can see here in the top left corner, the icons that tell you what each of these do. Do you know what an anchor does? No. But you have to memorize what the Aborigine does by that anchor. It's not used anywhere else in the game. Iconography only helps you if it's repeatedly used, because it saves you time from memorizing each individual card and what it does. So because I have to memorize what the anchor does just for the Aborigine, and the sword fight just for the captain, and this book just for the governor, why have icons at all? Because I have to memorize what each of these separate cards do. The iconography, while existing to keep it language independent, does absolutely no good in understanding or explaining the game. You will never learn this game by looking at these icons and go, oh, the book, I know what that means. This one is slightly helpful, which I'll get to later. But most of these are not. You just have to memorize what the cards do. That is a lot to digest. So the icons are really not helpful, except for maybe this one, the curse one. It is not helpful to learn and teach the game or to play the game at all. Terrible, terrible use of icons. So when you play a card, you're going to play it face down, and then when your card, whatever one you play is read out, you'll flip it over and do it. But the cards are so overly complicated at what you're going to be doing. I'll explain that in just a second. But this is my 4th complaint. Taking an action is so complicated, and there are so many rules for it. Allow me to explain. So if you were to play this shipwright, and I'm showing you right out of the rule book, his action is to buy ships. That's what he's going to do. You're going to give up victory points or treasures to buy ships. And on your turn, you can buy up to 10 ships from the reserve, because 10 is the maximum amount of dice that you have in the game, paying a treasure chest per ship. Fantastic. Very easy to use and understand in that one little small paragraph. But I have another page of things to do. So if for some reason that you play him and you can't do anything, which means you just made a mistake in the game. If you choose him but you have no ships, then you get a black spot tile, which is negative victory points. This is mind-blowing. So if I play a card that I cannot use, not only do I lose my turn for the round, but something terrible happens to me. Let me go a step further than this. The worst thing that can happen to you in this game occurs. You lose 3 victory points with those black skulls. You lose 3 victory points, which is mind-numbingly huge in this game. I'll get to that later in this review. But understand that when you accidentally make a mistake where you would lose your entire turn, which is incredibly boring, but it has to happen in a game like this. In a game where you're doing simultaneous selection, this is going to happen. That's not the complaint. The complaint is, not only do I have the penalty of losing my turn and having the most boring turn you will ever have in this game because you made a mistake or didn't think things through all the way or you got distracted. Because it's not a timed game. You just got distracted.
on top of having the most boring turn, the most punishing thing in this game that can occur to you will occur to you. Making a mistake, a slip of the mind, a bad move, is the most punishing thing that can happen. Of all the things that you do on purpose, to me this is the most random thing. It is just random. I had a brain fart. I overthought it. I made a mistake because I wasn't thinking clearly. Or maybe you're trying to get the game moving. A lot of times I teach the games, and I'm the guy that's kind of tasked with keeping it moving. If I play the wrong card, I not only get a double whammy, I get the worst sucker punch whammy that this game has to offer because I made a mistake. Not a bad strategy. Not because somebody made a good move to me, but because I had a brain fart. That is it. Terrible. I cannot even believe this exists in this game. You know how punishing it is in this game to not be able to do anything while everybody else is progressing in the game? But on top of it, I'm going to lose 3 victory points. Every time you gain victory points, it's 1 at best in this game. And I'm taking 3 times that amount away from me because I made a mistake. Because I chose the wrong action. Or one time I just picked the wrong card on I thought I was picking the captain. I actually picked the Aborigine and I got screwed over by it. And I get punished severely for that? You gotta be kidding.
So after the black spot, if that happens to you, you have these rituals. If you choose and you have enough yin yang, and if you did the action and you have enough yin yang tokens, you may perform one of the rituals. This will give you these extra tiles that will do different things. The game can quickly, if played correctly, be erased to get as many of these as possible because they will break the rules. Okay? So, I have the action, I have the bad thing that could have happened, I have the ritual that I can take. What's this? Now, if I'm the only person that does it, I get something for good. I get additional free ship. If I'm the first player and I'm the only person, I get 2 ships. Not that complicated, right, guys? Okay, let's take a look at the card. My next complaint to this is the card does not give you all that information. It tells me the ritual. It tells me I can't pick up my cards at the end of the turn. It tells me I get maybe 1 free ship. Where does it tell me what I get when I'm first player and no one else plays it? It is literally not on the card. You have to memorize that. What makes that hard? Here comes my complaint. There are no player aids in this game. I get this rule book. That is it. And each page of this rule book pretty much is a character in this game. And there are 7 different characters. Each character has a power, has a negative that happens if you don't have the power. You can't utilize it because you made a brain fart. It has a ritual or no ritual that you can utilize, whether you can pick up your cards or not, what happens if you're the only one who uses it, and what happens if you're first player and you're the only one that utilizes it. That's 6 possible things that can happen for each of the 6 cards, 36 possible scenarios, theoretically, yet there is no player aid. There is no direction on the card for some of the actions you can do. There's no icons for it. There's no wording for it. You have this gigantic rule book that you're trying to keep your head in for each thing. Now, in order to play correctly, in order to play strategically, you will have planned all this out.
Now, I play complicated Euros. I played some of the best, deepest Euros. I played Food Chain Magnet, which I love. I like The Gallerist. I like Kanban. I like deep experiences. I play Dominant Species. I like these kind of games. This is a random rule fest of dice that I am encouraged to play with my family. Furthermore, the age on the book is 9. On the side of the box, it's 9+. This is designed to be a family game. But every single character has 3 to 4 different things that could possibly happen with the character. It is mind-blowingly too much. There's no player aids. That would have solved a lot of these complaints I'm having right now. If there were player aids. Yes, I can go online and print things out. I can also create things myself. I get that. But I can only judge this game on what they provide for me. They've saved money with the 10s. They spent money on a custom insert that's pointless. And they don't give us player aids? Come on, take that money back for that custom insert and give me some player aids in this game, because it's incredibly frustrating to digest all of these rules before I play a family game. I get it. You're going to say, hey, just play the game 2 to 5 times and you'll have everything down. Not on a light game, guys. You don't play Ticket to Ride 5 times to get the rules down. People will invest that amount of time into the Gallerist because it's a deep game. Kanban, I know what I'm getting into. There's going to be a lot of rules. You don't play Ticket to Ride. You don't play these type of games, these light games like this, to have this much depth of rules based on how much randomness there's going to be in the game. We're going to come back to randomness in this, but it's too heavy. It's too much. Or just give me a darn player aid. Give the player something to look at. Even me, having read the rules and trying to put together this game, we were struggling bad. Because what if the Aborigines not played for 5 rounds? Or, whatever's not played for so many rounds. It's really hard to make good strategic decisions when things are so spread out. And you can't say, man, this is a deep game. This is a deep game. You can't do it. Not with this much randomness. It doesn't make any sense. Give me a player aid. Put all the possible icons. Even though I've already said the iconography is pretty much useless, put it on the card or don't have it at all. It should have been cut from this game. It should have been more like Citadels or Mission Red Planet where you just take the power. Maybe a little bit of a bonus like Puerto Rico. But it should never have been this many options on a turn with no player aid. You got to make a decision here. You're making it simple for people to play, or you're going to give them a lot of options. You can't have it both ways, and that's what I feel like they're trying to do.
Now that I've complained about this card, how these powers are activated, I'm going to go through each one and just give you a very general overview of what each of them do. This guy allows you to buy more ships, and ships are represented by the dice in the game. So you'll have some in the reserve, and you'll have some you're able to roll. If they're in your supply, you don't have to buy them. They're yours to spend however you want during the game. But once they're utilized, either by shipping goods or by fighting, then you can lose them. And that's how you gain them back, by paying 1 treasure chest per ship. The Governor. Now, he lets you take back all of your ships in the reserve, but you will get a Black Skull, which is worth -3 points at the end of the game. He is the only way to get rid of skulls if you're by yourself or if you're the first player and you're by yourself when you play this cards. So playing him by yourself is really, really important. The Captain is the main card in the game. This is how you're going to get goods. I'm going to come back to this in just a second because I have a huge... The Aborigine allows you to change the price of the market. So what she'll do is she'll give you these cards that have the anchor, which match, and she will change the pricing. So in this way, the fruit is worth more than the wine or the wheat. If you look here, this one will change it, or the fruit is also. It's not always the fruit, but that's how it is in these. So you would play one of these down on the market, thus changing the price of the goods, which will be utilized on this board right here. Next, we have the Shaman. What he does is he allows you to play cursed cards. And cursed cards, there's a whole bunch of them in the game. I think there's 10 of them. They all do something different. Having you rolling all the ships and seeing what's rolled, and if people can lose die based on what the rules are. In this case, if you reroll everybody's ships under 3s, bad stuff happens. So these are just curses. They affect everybody in the game. Then you have the Merchant card. This will allow you to sell your goods that you have got throughout the game, and you will play whatever the market price is here at the port, the top card. There's only one port in the game, and everybody will play off of it. Remember, you can change the prices by using the Aborigine. Now, what's interesting about this is each good you sell is only 1 point. But if you sell 3 of a kind, then you will get 3 points for the fruit on this one. 3 of a kind of wheat, you would get 2 points for each one, and the wine are always worth 1. The opposite would be true on this one. If you sold 3 of a kind, you would get 3 points for each wine for a total of 9. 3 would be 6 here, and 3 is still 1 each there. So the port changes can be quite dramatic. The last card is the Cartographer. That's how you get more of these adventure cards that you'll be drawing, thus ending the game. If you're by yourself and you're first player, you get to draw 3 instead of 1. These cards will also have at the bottom these little wily things, and if you play a card that allows it without the X, you can spend your yin-yangs that you'll get tokens, and you can buy these power-ups that will either have an unsinkable ship, or allow you to trade at a cheaper rate, or allow you to carry more cargo. If you have this symbol not X'd out at the bottom, like this card, then at the end of the turn you will pick up other your cards. Otherwise, if you were to play just a shipwright, you wouldn't get him back next round. So you can kind of see what other people have played. Let's talk about the Captain. So what the Captain is going to do is he's going to allow you to play certain adventure cards that look kind of like this. And this tells you how many of the red die you will include in the dice rolling. In this case, we will add 4 red dice. Now, each player can add this many ships plus additional die depending on the number of players. So in a 4-player game, I could add 5 dice of my ships if they're in my supply. I can always add a minimum of 1. If I don't add any, then I must take a black skull. When one player plays this, everybody participates. So let me show you how combat works. Once everybody has their dice, they will roll the dice on the board. Hopefully everybody will be there. So let me kind of show you how this works. For every red die, the dice that we're playing as the colored dice are pirates. And these are cargo ships. So this black is obviously closest to this red. They're equal, so they both will be eliminated. If one of your ships is eliminated, you get a yin-yang token. Now this 4 beats this 3. Obviously it's the closest, so the 3 would be eliminated. In this case, the 5 and the 4 is closest. This won't be eliminated. If there's ever a dispute, the game does come with a ruler that you can utilize. It's kind of an imperfect science, but it works neat enough. Now this is a pretty good, cool mechanic for combat. I really like it. It's totally random, but it's really good. But this leads me to my next complaint of the game. So, during this game, we're doing this interesting card play where I'm kind of seeing what you have played, maybe looking at what you need, and it's just a very strategic game. Then it gets down to this combat thing where we're putting dice in, but we're just jumbling them up and rolling them, which is fine. It's actually kind of fun. But there are so many rules gathered around this mechanic. This mechanism is the game. The game is really rolling this dice, seeing if you survive, and then getting the goods cards, which will monopolize your dice until you can sell them off. So after a good captain roll, which really you want somebody else to play, not yourself, but if you don't play one, he's the only one, he's going to get the bonus of more yin-yang, which is not good for you because that will give him one of the power-ups. So you kind of strategically have to play this, although it doesn't really do you a whole lot of good to play a lot of captain cards. And the captain cards are very time-consuming. That mechanism I just showed you, where you're just rolling the dice, can be very time-consuming during the game. Because how many dice do you want to put in? Let's see, well, there's 3 captain cards out, so I want to save some back, but I need some goods. What's likely to happen? Oh, it's ad nauseum. And when people are just adding dice after dice and you really don't have any left, it can be bad because you're going to get a skull token every time. And those are worth -3 points. They're so powerful. It's just incredibly powerful in a negative way. But then you have this random mechanism where you're just kind of like jobbling dice everywhere, mixed with this strategic gameplay where we have these 7 different cards with all these different options and this mind game about when they're going to be played and when they're not. And if I'm the first player and nobody else played it, or nobody played it, I'm the second player, and I have this power that I'm going to do, but if I can't activate it because I did a brain fart, I get this negative. There's just a lot going on, and then it comes down to this random roll thing, which I actually like, just not in this game. It's incredibly frustrating because it is just incredibly bad. To add to that, let me show you something. So when you play the governor, you're going to take these flags of different countries, these corsairs they call them, which when you play a card, it's also going to have a flag on it. If you, by random chance, you've taken this card. Yes, I chose the governor because it was a cheap way to get my stuff back. Yes, I chose this tile. But how the heck did I know there were 8 of these cards with this stupid flag on it that everybody else had? I didn't. It's random. And because you had this and I chose this at some point in the game, I'm losing 3 negative points? What? Then somebody else plays one on the same turn, I'm -6? And then another person plays one randomly and I'm -9? What? That can't be so. How is this possible? Why did this make this into this game? On what amounts to just a random roll or a random draw from the deck. I don't understand why I'm being punished so badly in such a random way. Now, Mission Red Planet is a game where you do this same kind of action selection as the Citadels, and there's some take that in those games. I know what's available. I know if I'm leading, somebody's going to come after me. But this isn't somebody playing a card because they want to hurt me. This is somebody playing a card because they just randomly have it. You're never going to have a lot of these adventure cards in your hand. Maybe 3 or 4 max. I mean, that'd be a lot for this game. You're going to kind of play what you have.
unless you're really trying to push the end game. So I don't understand why it's so punishing that I just grabbed this tile because I had to pick one, and maybe it was one of two left. Maybe it's the only one left. And everybody just happened to have these cards in their hands, and I'm losing points ad nauseum. And these points are so hard to come by. 1 point is a lot. I mean, really, 20, 30, 40 points is a lot. So if I'm losing 12, that is tremendous swing of luck in this game. It is really, really, really terrible. And I cannot believe it. The negativity in this game is so strong. And it's random. It's not even like I'm doing something wrong. It's just happening to me, and I have no control over what's happening to me. It is like my 20s. It's like a whole bunch of bad decisions that other people around me are making, and I'm having a fault for them. I'm so glad I'm not 20. My next complaint is this rule book. It is terrible. Let me give you an example. When you're a merchant, you sell your goods. Sell goods from your ship to earn treasure chests. All goods, a par sell for 1 treasure chest each. However, the goods in demand, you get 3 more. So you get 2 or 3 cards per gate. Discard the cards you wish to sell to the booty card discard pile and advance your scoring marker the corresponding number of treasure chests on the scoreboard. Did it tell you what to do with your ships or your dice? Do they go back in reserve, or do you keep them? You can always choose how many goods to sell. Any goods you don't sell remain on your ships until the next merchant action or curse affects them. So that's if you don't sell them. Any goods you don't sell, you get to keep the ships. Makes sense because you haven't done anything with them. Guard ships. For every treasure chest you have, send 1 ship. This is more about the scoring board. These ships are not considered part of your fleet. However, if the number of treasure chests you have goes down enough, you have the fewer ships. And it gives you an example of how this works, okay? If you choose merchant and you don't get it, you must take a black spot. Note, if you've accumulated more, use these little 40 chips. You can do the ritual, the gift, the first player. What do you do with your ships? If you're the merchant and you sold, the book does not tell you. Okay. Next example, let's look at the captain. So we're over here. It's telling you how to take care of the contracts, So repeat this procedure until all the pirate ships or all the caravan ships are sunk. Note that because you're always comparing the closest pair of pirate ship and caravan ships, it's quite possible the same fight is consecutive. Clarification: pirate ships sink caravan ships and never pirate ships. So caravan can't sink caravan and pirate can't sink pirate. Okay. Note the dice are resolved by shortest distance. Whenever pirate ship sunk, its owner gets a yin yang. No problemo. Here's an example. That just kind of tells you how this all works with a great picture. If all the caravan ships are sunk, it's time for the surviving pirates to divide their booty. Starting with the player who played this caravan card, goes clockwise. Equal to the amount of his plundering ships. Place any good cards face up with your ships. This is the only time you can discard booty. Place any talismans. You draw a talisman. Important, repeats the entire procedure for each player. It never tells you what to do if all the pirate ships are killed. It tells you what to do if the caravans are killed. It does not tell you what to do with the pirate ships. This game is a complete and utter mess with the rulebook. Now, I've played some very complicated games, big adventure game systems, and they do have rules of missions, or big Euros where sometimes you're like, this doesn't make sense. And I recently had a big problem with the first Martian rulebook. This rule just omits them. And I think that's a huge problem when rules are omitted. Maybe there's a FAQ online, maybe there's a rulebook online, maybe I can go somewhere else, but I'm not really that guy. I don't do that. I look to the rulebook, and I want to play by this rulebook that was provided. I understand that people are human, and humans make mistakes. Get it, got it, I'm on board. I'm on board that maybe some rules slip by, but it's all over this rulebook. I didn't know what to do in many situations. I just had to make a rule up. Now, if the game is good, I'll roll with it, and I'm having a good time. I don't care. That's fine. I'm just one of those guys. I want to play by the rules. I want to understand the rules. But if I'm having fun, that's really my objective and why I'm there. But when I'm not, and I wasn't, it's a huge problem that I can't even figure out the rules of what to do. This is a huge bummer when you're playing a game. You paid money for it. You expect a finished product, and it's just not there. So the rulebook is just terrible overall. This is one of those games that just surprised me how bad it was. I hardly ever not finish a game. I hardly ever not give a game a second look. Even if I make a negative review on a game, I can find some redeeming quality. This game is not good. Why would you ever play this game over Citadels? Why would you ever play this game over Mission Red Planet? Why would you play this game over any other game? it doesn't even know what it wants to be. This is not a family game. I don't understand how you can take a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old and have them digest those rules. I was struggling. I think it's the lack of the player aid, but people literally have to be like, what does this card do? And you start to pick it up, and it's like, you got to keep track of all the exceptions, and who's that, and what's that, and are you first, are you the only one? And it's not on the card. Oh my gosh, you're making me work too hard to play this game. I cannot say this loudly enough and long enough. Skip this game. Find something better to play. This is not it. This is not that game. The artwork is beautiful. I love the mechanism with throwing the dice. I liked it. In a different game, even a pirate game, I really, really liked it. It was really, really neat. But you got to keep the rest of the game on the same level. It's got to be lighter than this. I think maybe getting rid of the benefit for being the only one that played it. I don't know. I like some kind of benefit, but it just doesn't work, and the icons don't work, and what you're doing becomes too convoluted. And I think maybe getting rid of some of those powers, but you got to have 7s. There's some things you're doing by yourself. I don't know. And there wasn't enough people wanting to draw cards with the cartography. The game wasn't progressing enough, and it just really wasn't working for us, and it lasted way too long because we weren't hitting that deck. And people at first were wanting to keep those yin-yangs. I think that was a mistake on our part, that we weren't powering up, so to speak. But I had a hard time getting yin-yangs. It was almost like luck when you're able to play that. Oh, they didn't go for that. They went for that. And it's just an exercise in frustration. So this is an absolute purge. Go do something else with your time and money. This is not it, my friends. This is not the family game that was promised to us. Complete and utter miss. And I'm in no way surprised or shocked that this game has been probably an utter failure if people have played it. I don't see a lot of reviews up for it. Probably for good reason. Skip this one. Absolute one of the worst games I've ever played in my life. Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate you tuning in. If you liked it, please like it and hit that little subscribe button. That really helps out the channel. Lets us know that you're getting the videos that you want. If you agreed or disagree with what I said, feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear what you have to say, and I promise that I will comment back. Thanks for watching, and everybody else, keep playing games.